this tutorial we're going to be learning the Tunisian wave stitch. This is the front of the work and this is what the back looks like. This stitch is part of a series on my YouTube channel where we're exploring all different Tunisian crochet stitches that would make beautiful blankets. Start by making a slip knot using your preferred method. That's how I like to make my slip knots. And then for this stitch, your starting chain needs to be a multiple of 8 stitches plus an extra 2. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to go for 3 times 8, which is 24, plus 2 is 26. So there's my starting chain of 26. We now need to make our foundation row. This is the same foundation row we make for most Tunisian crochet stitches. I've covered it in quite a few tutorials before, so if you would like to learn how to do the foundation row, if this is your first ever Tunisian crochet tutorial, I'll link my tutorial for absolute beginners up here. You should definitely start with that one and then come back to this tutorial to learn the wave stitch. So go ahead and make your foundation row in the back bumps of your chain all the way across, and then I'll meet you at the end of your foundation row. So here's my foundation row and I'm ready to move on to row 2. For the Tunisian wave pattern, it is actually a 4-row repeat. So to start row 2, we're going to be making a stitch called a Tunisian double crochet. That's a double crochet in US terms. They're called trebles in the UK. And a Tunisian double crochet stitch is kind of like a cross between a Tunisian stitch and a normal crochet double crochet stitch. So I'll show you how to work that. So we're going to yarn over and then put your hook under the next vertical bar, then yarn over and pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So that was a Tunisian double crochet. This is kind of like a partial double crochet. If you've watched any of my tutorials that cover the cluster stitch and me talking about partial stitches, the Tunisian double crochet is kind of like one of them. And we're actually going to do this in the next 3 stitches as well. So the next 3 vertical bars, we're going to do one of these Tunisian double crochets into each of them. So yarn over, hook in the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's my second Tunisian double crochet. Yarn over, put your hook in the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and one last time, yarn over, hook in the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So we've now made 4 of those Tunisian double crochets. And working these taller stitches, so these Tunisian double crochets, are what kind of like pushes out this section of our wave, this kind of like bubble area. And then our rows slim down here, you can see. So we're going to do that slimmer area of the row now. So in the next vertical bar, we're just going to do a normal Tunisian simple stitch. So yarn under the vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. And then into the next 2 stitches, we're going to be doing a Tunisian slip stitch. So to do a Tunisian slip stitch, we just put our hook under the vertical bar. We don't do anything else. We don't do any yarn overs and pull through. We just leave that vertical bar on the hook. We're going to do the same for the next stitch again. So that's a Tunisian slip stitch. And if you can see, when we work the next stitch, we are going to have a stretch of yarn along here at the back where we have skipped those stitches. But if I show you the back of this, it's not too obvious that there it is, just there. That stretch of yarn is just there. It's not too obvious. So for our stitch repeat now, we're going to do a Tunisian simple stitch. So that is 8 stitches we've worked now. We've worked 4 Tunisian double crochets, a simple stitch, 2 slip stitches, and then another simple stitch, and we're going to repeat that across. So I'll work another repeat with you. So we're going to work 4 Tunisian double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in the next stitch we just do a Tunisian simple stitch, then 2 slip stitches, so 1, 2, and then a Tunisian simple stitch. So continue repeating that repeat of 8 stitches across to the end of the row, and I'll meet you here. So I've just finished my repeat and I've just done a Tunisian simple stitch after 2 slip stitches, Tunisian simple stitch, and then those 4 Tunisian doubles. and I've got one stitch left on work. That's our edge stitch, so we're going to work that edge stitch how we usually do, which is under those 2 loops at the edge of the row. And then for this stitch, our return pass is always the same. It's the same as the foundation row: yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through 2 over and over again until the end of the row, and I'll meet you there. So I've actually stopped 2 loops before the end of the row because we're going to be changing colours here. So I've just not done that final yarn over and pull through, ready to change colours. I am going to show you how to change colours. I have covered it in a previous tutorial though. So I'm going to snip my old colour, then pull up the end of my next colour, lay that end over my crochet hook and pull it through those 2 loops on the hook, and I've successfully changed colour. I will need to come back and weave these ends in at the end. So for alternate rows from this point forwards, we do a row of just Tunisian simple stitch, none of these Tunisian doubles or anything like that, just Tunisian simple stitch all the way across, and that's the row straight after a colour change. So I'm going to go ahead and do that row of Tunisian simple stitch, and I will meet you at the end of this row. So there's my row of just Tunisian simple stitch, and then we're going to do another row now to create those waves. But if we have a look at this sample, you can see that our waves are offset from each other. They kind of fill in the gap. The taller sections fill in the gaps of the smaller sections of the section below. So basically it's a four row repeat, but we're going to be offsetting that. Do you remember that stitch repeat from row 2? So the 4 Tunisian doubles, a Tunisian simple, 2 slip stitches, a Tunisian simple, that repeat. We're going to be doing that same repeat again, but it's going to be offset slightly. Hope that makes sense. I am going to take you through it step by step. So for row 4, we're going to start with a Tunisian simple stitch, then 2 slip stitches, 1, 2, then a Tunisian simple stitch, then we're going to do those 4 Tunisian doubles, 2, 3, 4, and then repeat that across the rest of the row. So Tunisian simple stitch, 2 slip stitches, Tunisian simple stitch, 4 Tunisian doubles. Repeat that across the row and then work your edge stitch and return pass as normal, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 4 and explain what we're doing for row 5. So I'm almost at the end of row 4 and we're ready to change colour again. I'm going to change colours exactly the same way as we did before. So snip my end, pull up the end of my new colour, put it on my hook and pull that loop through those last 2 loops at the end of row 4. So for row 5 we're going to do a row of Tunisian simple stitch now, and then we're going to go back and repeat rows 2, 3, 4 and 5 over and over again until your crochet piece is the size you want it to be. I then recommend casting off exactly the same as you would for Tunisian simple stitch, so a slip stitch under each vertical bar, just like we did in my Tunisian for Absolute Beginners tutorial. If you'd like to learn some more Tunisian crochet stitches, I'll pop my playlist on the screen here, and I'll see you again next week for another Tunisian crochet tutorial.